There you go.
There.
Thank you. There we go. Now it is. And Megan is sipping. Okay. Hello, hello. Welcome to Kill the Bottle Podcast. Eddie Zamora, aka the Yum Yum Foodie. Of course, Senorita Megan, as she's taking a sip and staring down at her phone. How you doing, Megan? Are you here? You're with me?
I'm here. I'm staring at my drink.
Staring at your drink. It is called Kill the Bottle Podcast. What are you drinking, Megan?
Russell's, the Russells I missed out on when I wasn't there.
Russell's Reserve. Yeah, well, if you weren't essentially the major giver of COVID in Southern California, you could have been here. And I'm just kidding. Megan, I think you were sick, right?
I don't remember.
Megan is either always sick or always has COVID. It's great. It's really your patient zero. I am drinking in honor of our guest, who I'll introduce in just a second. I am drinking a drink called the Sazerac. And the reason why I'm drinking a Sazerac is in honor of where our guest is doing the show from. The Sazerac, for the folks of you who do not know, is a local variation of cognac or whiskey cocktail. It's originally from New Orleans, and it's 1.5 ounces of rye or cognac, 1/4 ounce of absinthe, 1 sugar cube, and then 3 dashes of Peychaud's bitters. Basically, what you do is you rinse your glass with a little bit of absinthe. Then you get the other ingredients, crush some ice, let it sit in your ice there, dilute a little bit, dump out whatever you have in your glass from that absinthe rinse.
No, drink it.
Drink it, right? I
What's
don't
wrong
like
with you?
Strain it and then put a little lemon peel. Yeah, what do you mean? What is wrong with me, Megan?
You drink the absinthe. I don't use it for a rinser. Jeez,
I don't.
Louise.
You know what? I'm not a huge
What kind
fan
of
licorice,
booze hound are you?
Spoken like a true booze hound, Megan. Let's be fair. All right. So if you're wondering, like I said, our guest is in New Orleans, and our guest, and I'm doing an experiment here. So our guest is a television writer. He is a producer. He's an author. I'm going to introduce him quickly before I tell you more about him. Welcome to Kill the Bottle Podcast, Greg Cope White.
Thanks for having me.
Howdy, Greg. How you doing?
Good. I wonder what year the Sazerac was invented. It's old. It's old school drink.
It is about as old, and I have no jokes in me right now. I was gonna think of something that's like really old.
As Jesus. No, I'm just joking.
No, I mean, maybe. It
I
could
don't.
be as old
I was
as
just thinking of old.
Jesus.
Bad joke.
Greg,
I'm out. This was fun.
that was fun. Megan, just keep sipping. So Greg is a TV writer. But Greg, as folks that are listening to this, because hopefully by the time this airs next week, that the writer's strike will be over with. But one of the big things about the writer's strike, or not one of the things we keep seeing is AI and that AI technology. So just as a joke, I want to see how accurate this AI is, Greg. I asked ChatGPT to give me a bio on you. So I just really want to find out if ChatGPT shit the bed with this or not. So here we go real quick. Greg Cope White is an American television writer, producer, author, was born in Memphis, Tennessee, raised in Atlanta, Georgia.
No.
Shaking his head right there. Good. Okay. So
good. We like to hear it.
See, you see, first of all, I know that this isn't true because I took a deeper dive, but I was like, look at this ChatGPT bullshit.
What else does it say?
It says that you worked on a variety of TV shows, including Designing Women, Grace Under Fire, Golden Girls, Living Single, Moesha.
For those of you at home, he's shaking his head a lot.
None of those shows. I was born in Lubbock, Texas. I was raised all over the place, as you know from the book. I went to 13 schools in 11 years.
Yeah.
I lived in New Orleans. Did you tell him why we're here?
Oh, I'm about to, but yeah, we're here to talk about his first of all, his incredible life. And he mentioned the book and going to 13 schools in 11 years. And the book he's talking about is a book called The Pink Marine, which is a pretty compelling story. I just ordered a copy of it today, by the way, Greg.
I should have sent you one.
Oh, please let's get you some. Right now, writers are on strike. We need to get them paid.
That's true. Writers on strike. The book is my source of income right now. So thank you.
My friend
is it
was
on
over
Amazon?
at the strike today.
Okay, good. He said that. All right, I'm going to put it on my list. Hey, affiliates list. Go click through and get his book. There you go.
Well,
that's my plug.
The irony is like the writers' strike right now in LA has become like the club to be at. It's become like where all the Imagine Dragons performed at the writers' strike a couple days. Look at Megan's face, right by your house too, right in front of the Netflix building.
And I bet we see more of that. I bet we see more musicians come. Chefs are dropping off big trays of food. It's not just pizza. They're bringing out some fancy stuff. Mothers are bringing by trays of lemon bars. It's fantastic. I'm not there yet. As you said, I'm still in New Orleans.
My buddy got a coffee gift card today for Go Get 'em Tiger from Phil Rosenthal. So, not only everybody loves Raymond and everybody loves Phil for his coffee generosity.
He is the best.
Yeah, he's a lovely guy. So sorry, jumping back to your book, The Pink Marine. The reason why Greg is in New Orleans, because very excitingly, his book, essentially his memoir, is being made into a television series called The Corps. And guys, yeah, you don't pronounce the P at the end of Marine Corps. The minute they say Marine Corps, it's
We
stolen
did have
valor.
some people audition that said Marine Corps, and we're like, okay, next.
I was like, did any of them get the job?
No.
I'm taking notes.
Google actors, get ready for your auditions, learn your stuff.
That's why you didn't call me back. Damn it.
That's what it is, Megan.
I'll do
That's
it.
exactly.
That's-
Your agent said you wouldn't shave your head, and as you can see, in solidarity of the cast, I have shaved my head.
Wow,
Aw.
that's amazing.
I would do it.
You know my
'Cause I
hair.
did see-
My hair's my thing, Eddie. So it was a big sacrifice.
Yeah, he's
see
got to look,
that.
but thankfully you don't have an oddly shaped head. You know what I mean? You don't have like that big Steve Harvey head, even though Steve Harvey looks good bald, but you have, and you've got the glasses. So guys, when you see Greg's got some killer frames that just make sense and they work for him. So yeah, no, he looks good with the shaved head.
And these are my computer glasses, LAI Works. If you people need glasses, go see Brent at LAI Works. They are really the king, and they keep me from falling downstairs.
I need to do it. I haven't had eye insurance. I used to date an eye doctor, so I had eye insurance, free eye stuff, and that was 7 years ago. That being said, I haven't been to an eye doctor to get my eyes checked in 7 years, and I noticed it today. I was in my school subbing, and I was like, I can't.
Maybe you should
see.
call him up and see if he's interested in
will.
dating again, just for the eyeglasses.
Oh yes, thank you. Damn insurance.
So while you're in New Orleans, I'm curious, where were you and what happened when you got the call that you found out that your story, what you wrote, was being developed officially into a television show? I'm always interested in that moment, because I've had a similar moment where I found out I got something really big and I screamed so loud I scared the shit out of my wife, my neighbors. It was one of those. So please tell me.
I was at home in Santa Monica, and one of our executive producers is Norman Lear, which is crazy for me to even be saying that. The greatest producer and television king of all time is one of our executive producers. He wrote the foreword to my book. He's been a friend for years. I've written on 2 of his shows. This is my 3rd Norman Lear show to write on. And we had developed it and shopped it around. And it was about 8:00 at night. And Norman called me. And at 100 years old, he still gets completely excited about something like this. And so we're literally screaming on the telephone. I was on a Skype call with my boyfriend who lives in Montreal. When we're apart, we do a Skype thing every night. I cook dinner and he gives me notes. And they're always
that sounds very, very Quebecian.
It's very Quebecian. He's got notes. You're going to burn the fish. Is that pasta? Is that salt? So we were on that call, and Norman's call came in, and we all jumped around and screamed. And we got an offer from Apple, and we were all excited. We're like, okay, we're an Apple show. And then my boyfriend, who's not in the business, but is a businessman, said, oh, that's actually not how this is going to go down. We have a good product here. You're going to get another bid. And so sure enough, the next day we pitched to Netflix and they bid. So we got in a war, and what better thing to happen to a military book than a war? And Netflix won. And then we spent the last year and a half in the writer's room. We've written them all. And then it's just serendipitous that New Orleans was chosen to produce the show, to shoot the show in, because the book takes place in New Orleans. I enlisted in the Marine Corps here. I lived here for several years. I come back every year for Mardi Gras. So it's really besides California, it's my other home.
So what is more stressful? Being in Paris Island boot camp, or being in the writer's room of a show about your life at that boot camp?
Boy, that's a good question. It is definitely a lot of pressure to, what I had to do? I had to consciously join the others in writing about my life objectively. So, because as you know, from a writer's room, it's not just your stories that we're mining. I'm mining, there were 2 other Marines on staff. I'm mining their stories and their boot camp memories. I'm mining our showrunner stories who, you know, and every writer on the show brings stories that we might use in the show. And it's not, everything isn't about me, but well, it is, since it's a show about me, but they're all stories from all over the place. And I fell in love with the idea of the characters that we were developing. All the people that are in the book are jumping to life. You know, my mom's character is amazing. It's played in the show by Vera Farmiga. And that's, I can't believe I'm saying that. And then Miles Heiser plays the character based on me. He's just been fantastic to watch. It's in that room, it was as pressurized as Paris Island, but with a lot more joy.
Got it. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because
Did you have a say in Miles getting cast there?
I did. I'm a producer and a writer on the show, so yes, I had to say I get to say on everything.
Yeah. Did he
I don't
give
get
you
final
some
say.
final say? Did he give you some indication of, like, did he remind you of you? Were there things that he was doing?
A little bit, yes. You know, I once you read the book, I hope you'll find it funny. Miles is really funny himself, and he understands self-deprecating humor, which is a humor that I rely on heavily too. And the humor in the book is the same humor that you're going to see in the show, but it's really specific because you're in an environment where it's not safe to make a lot of these jokes and have this observation. So Miles was the person to do it. He is just, he's a fantastic guy, and he believes we have the same eyes. So there's that.
Did you find yourself at any point in time, because I can only imagine if you know, obviously it's TV, not everything is exactly how it happened, but did you ever find yourself saying, shit, this is not how this happened? I know they want to go, the room wants to go in a different direction with this particular line, or how the story lined up chronologically. Did you find yourself ever kind of battling what really happened versus what's better for TV?
A little bit. Again, I was accepting and excited to shape the stories that we were developing. There were a couple of stories that we didn't have space for in the pilot. The fact that you'll hear from the book about how I even got in the Marine Corps. It's funny, and we get that in the TV series, but you'll see we had to leave a couple little details out. But we call my character Cameron Cope instead of Greg, because we want to be free to do exactly what you're saying, which is we're creating things for Cameron. Yes, it's me, but it's also Cameron. So Cameron can have different goals and different wants than I really had, and that we were free to do that if we it's not a purely autobiographical piece. It's based on my memoir, and it's all my memories from boot camp, and it's all the people that you meet in the book are all jumping to life. My bunkie, my best friend, who's still my best friend. He's a surgeon in LA. We grew up together in New Orleans and enlisted together. And he was here for the first week of production. It was great.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is really cool. That question leads to mine, which is when you're doing this, are you required legally to reach out to certain people, and if you're talking about them specifically, or if there's something maybe embarrassing, were there things you've left out? What kind of process is that?
You get everything cleared. You know, we've amalgamated some characters. We've sketched a lot of new characters, so you don't have to worry about that. But my Dale, the person I just talked about, he's on board. My family's on board. So you just get those releases signed and say, you know, this is what we're doing. And I hope you like it.
Did you have to do that with the book as well, or just when you're doing a show? Are
Not
you
as
able to
much
write
with
whatever you want?
I was able to write with whatever I wanted. That's actually a good phrase, Megan, that I should talk about. You know, the book writing a book is totally different than writing the show, because what you kind of hinted at, Eddie, is I've got all these other voices in the room. When you're on a TV show, I've got a studio, I've got a network, I've got a showrunner, I've got other producers all on my back, and it's a different kind of experience writing. With the book, the only job I took while I was writing the book, as you know, I shot a pilot for Food Network. I used to run a popular food blog, and that's how we kind of got acquainted. And so that's the only job I took, was I shot a pilot for Food Network and then hosted a few shows for them. But otherwise, I just wrote the book and I had no editor over my back. I had no agent yet for the book. So it was completely a free experience. No one wanted to read the pages. My boyfriend said, I'll read them after. Write it like you want to write it. I used all real names at first, and then my editor changed the names at the end. But I really wanted to have the freest experience.
So what makes a gay kid from Texas in the 80s, what compels you to say, fuck this, I'm going to join the Marines during the Cold War? I'm so curious to how you got from A to B there.
I jumped. My best friend, who I've talked about, ad nauseum, was the best at everything. He still is. And he got an Air Force Academy appointment. So after our freshman year, he was at the Air Force Academy. I was in my first year of junior college. And
where was he located in the Air Force Academy?
Air Force Academy is in Colorado
Springs. That's where I grew up. I was making sure I wasn't some other. So I was very familiar with the Air Force Academy.
Beautiful. So he was there the first year, but his vision went a little bit bad where he couldn't be a pilot any longer.
Oh God, that's the worst.
So he resigned from the academy and he called me after our freshman year. He'd just gotten home and he tells me, so my eyes have gone a little bit bad. I can't be a pilot, but I need to finish my time. And my dad was a Marine, and to make him proud, I'm going to finish my time and I'm going to go to Marine Corps boot camp. It lasts all summer. It's at Parris Island, and I'll be back in time for my sophomore semester. And I was listening, and all I really heard was summer and camp. And I thought, summer camp. Boot camp. I love boots. Let's go to a whole camp for boots. So I said, I'll go with you. And he said, you're crazy. You've never run a mile. You don't know anything about the military. They'll eat you alive. The thing that we never said was, and you're gay, which is illegal. This is before Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Being gay in the military was just illegal. If you weren't beaten to a bloody pulp, you were thrown in jail or court-martialed or given a dishonorable discharge or an undesirable discharge, which is just a stain. And we didn't think about that. We both, he's straight, I'm gay. We were open with each other from the time we were probably 14, and we're inseparable. So his idea was really, his fear was that I wouldn't be able to keep up physically, and went down and had to lie and cheat my way through the interview and sign the contract. And then some really funny stuff happens that I failed the physical, and how I passed the physical and got in is probably a little bit shady and illegal, but it made a great story for the book.
We need it. We need it. After high school, I thought about joining the military, especially because I grew up in such a military-based town. And they said no go. And it was because I was on lithium from my age 12.
I was like, did they just give you a blood test for alcohol?
Yeah, that's it.
I don't think so.
No, I said I was on lithium from age 12 to 16. And they said that's a no-go at all. Like, I'm like, come on, I'm here.
Like, it's a great Nirvana song. Come on.
But you know what? I'm sorry that you were disqualified. And I know it is a thing, but I must tell you how happy I am to hear that you wanted to.
Oh yeah. What I heard from it was college paid for. That's what I heard when I was thinking about it.
You'll see from the book, and you'll see in the show, everybody joins for a different reason. And if that's your motivator, that's your motivator. I joined by accident. So it's literally everybody joins for a different reason, and you take something away.
How long were you in the Marines?
6 years. It turns out I was good at it.
Oops. Oopsies.
I'd never been good at anything before.
What were you good at specifically?
I think
taking orders.
Taking orders, giving orders, shooting the rifle, whatever they needed to do. I was ready to do it. I was raised by a single mom, and I didn't have those male figures in my life. That wasn't why I joined. I wasn't looking for that, but I certainly was thrilled to have it. Eddie, I love the way that you cherish the relationship with your dad, the effort you go to Miami and make sure that you lock on and hear his stories and all that. That just warms my heart.
Yeah, I'm actually going through a rough one with him. I was approached by a company called Capsule that essentially what they do is they shoot these little mini documentaries of your loved one. and you can interview them and they go through this whole process, whatever. And my dad is, I think he's kind of past that point where I can sit down and have those those moments of clarity with him to go through that story. But I mean, thank you. That's why I think I've always had a respect for the military, but even more so now when I see all of the stuff that the VA has done for my father, and just what what that's done for us as a family, and how proud my father is to have been part of that. So yeah, it's definitely like this constant evolution feeling towards the military.
I hope that you get some stuff on camera if it takes some cue cards or something to remind him. But these stories and his experiences are so valuable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and I'm gonna do it when I go down to Miami. We're gonna give it a go. We'll see what we get out of it. My dad, thankfully, he's hilarious. So regardless, it's gonna be funny. It's just a matter of how much we're able to get out of him and make it cohesive, I guess. Thank God for editing. They'll be able to compile and put all that together. Give me a good 30 seconds of dad.
They will fix it in post, I promise.
Exactly. That's the key. They will fix it in post. Now, speaking of just the military in general, is there any of the disciplines that you got from the military that has helped you in your career as, in the television world, whether you were on camera or writing or creating shows?
Two things spring to mind. One, once you've dealt with Marine personalities, like from drill instructors to commanding officers, you're unable to be intimidated by anybody else in society. So
I was going to say, yep.
Come at me and good luck, buddy. I've seen you. I've seen 100 times worse than you. That's one thing. So personalities, I can deal with any personality. Secondly, what I really took away is I'll do anything. I'll attempt anything. So I'm up early in the morning. I'm ready to go. I didn't know how to write a book. I don't have an education. I damn sure wrote a book and sold it for a television show. None of that is things that you would have, my 10-year-old self would never have listened to us say that was how things were going to work out for me. I didn't have any hope. The Marines gave me a ton. So I took away the things that they instilled in me, like discipline and honor, courage, and commitment. Those Marine Corps values, as hard as it is, I had to walk away from set Monday night because I can't write a book, and it gets me emotional. I have to honor that. It's to walk away from your own show about your own life is the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, I can't even imagine, because the blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into getting to that moment. That moment where it's like you hit the home run to win the World Series, but then all of a sudden the lights get shut off in the stadium.
Yeah,
as you're rounding the bases.
So we'll be back. It's important that we get the things that we're asking for in the strike. This is my 4th project for Netflix, my first series, but I've done 2 movies for them, and I can speak to the inequality of residuals. Thrilled that I got to write and produce those films, but it is important that we have a new contract that encompasses the streaming world, because we're not protected there.
Yeah, the streaming world is just completely turning everything on its head, and it's people don't, and mundane people, and I'm not saying mundane like losers, like that sounded sad, but like people who are in just normal lives in normal cities and doing normal things don't understand. My dad, when we talk about TV shows and how they're filmed and what goes on behind, and we see one scene that takes 2 seconds that took 4-5 hours of over and over and over. People don't get the work, and then they super don't get the behind the scenes work, the writing. What do they think they're watching? Like, it's something that is such an industry that makes so much money, and it also takes advantage of so many people, and it's hard. I can't imagine.
We're going to make it equitable. We're going to get to a place that I'm sure that the streamers will understand. It's inevitable. We just don't have those provisions in our contract. So I'm confident in my union. I'm confident in the brother and sister unions that are acting in solidarity. I'm thrilled that it's getting addressed. It's just timing that it happens to be during production of this show. But again, I can't make a show about honor, courage, and commitment and not walk that walk.
That's pretty heartfelt and like really, wow. I commend you. Wow.
There's a lot of people there that will that'll benefit from this.
I'm always curious from a somebody who's been in the military's perspective. What would you say out of all you've seen is the most accurate depiction on film or on television of not exactly your experience, but what that experience might be like?
The most accurate is definitely Full Metal Jacket.
Okay, that's what I was. That's what I was going to ask. Because
it was
nobody
perfect.
wants Arlie Ermy screaming at you.
No, we have these terrific Marine military advisors on the show, and we are out to make the best representation of the Marine Corps. I had several book reviews that mentioned that I gave a surprising reverent view of the Marine Corps. Well, don't ask, don't tell, and kicking people out for not being able to live their authentic lives is awful. And I have many friends that fell victim to that, and I hate that for them. I hate it for our society. However, it's not my story, so I'm not telling that story. The Marines changed my life, and even though I shouldn't have been there, it was completely illegal. I guess that technically makes me a bad Marine, but I got a lot out of it, and I'm here to always honor the Corps.
What was the jump from that to the film industry?
There are a lot of people that have served in the military that are in the film business because we've got a lot of stories and we've seen some shit. We come with extra skills, but there's a terrific just sidebar. The Writers Guild has a year-long mentorship program for veterans wanting to break into screenwriting. A year-long mentorship is not anything that anybody else has in the world. So I've been mentoring with that this is my 6th year, I think, coming up. And you get a year to work on one project with 4 or 5 working writers in your group. There's like 10 groups of 6 people wanting to be writers. So that's a great chance. Like I was thinking about that with your dad, Eddie. These people sometimes don't have a way to communicate and share their experiences. And sometimes writing is a great outlet for that. So it's a terrific program. But to answer your question, I think what happened for me was I'd always wanted to be in the entertainment business. I saw that when I was a little kid in Lubbock, Texas. Where'd the chat say I was? Atlanta or somewhere?
The chat said Memphis, Tennessee, and Atlanta, Georgia.
Right, Lubbock, Texas. I've moved all around. So I always wanted to do that. So as soon as I got out of the military, when my enlistment was up, I moved to New York City and I started studying acting and writing. And I got lucky and got a few jobs and was writing a bit. And then I moved to LA and started writing more there and got really lucky. And after 3 years of toiling on spec scripts and making every contact I could, I knew not a soul in town. I got a job working for Norman Lear, and I was a production assistant in the office. He asked for a script that first day. He loved it. And I'm not saying the rest is history because there's been 30 years of a lot of ups and downs. But that's how I did it. I moved to New York. I paid my dues in LA. I studied. I learned how the format works. I've always loved telling stories. I don't try to be funny like a comedian, but I do enjoy crafting a clever sentence.
What was, if there was, your lowest point in this industry, and what got you out of it? What kept you going?
That's a good question. Let me think about that for a second. One low point for sure was in about 2000. My agent at ICM at the time left, and we didn't get picked up. I was writing with a partner, and we didn't get picked up by another agent in the agency. So I wasn't dropped as much as there just wasn't anybody there representing us, and we didn't get on staff. And I had to kind of say goodbye to the entertainment business for a while because it was I didn't have a job. And so I had to go get a job. I worked for my friend Dale and did some other things.
I'm there right now.
See, and so the life got in the way. But somebody asked me the other day if I regretted that. And I don't, because during that time, I met my boyfriend. It seems silly calling my boyfriend of 15 years, but we're not married. So I don't know my squack. I don't know what to call it.
Man friend.
But my man friend.
That's
my
what I
dude.
called him.
Well, it's like if
The
you live
prince.
together in California, you could just call him somebody who could take half your shit.
That's going to be his new nickname, although he'd want all of it. So, but the truth is, yeah. So
yeah,
I will never regret that I took a pause because I met him.
You regrouped.
Yeah,
and
then I never stopped writing. You know, he was really a strong inspiration in even starting the book, because I didn't know what I was doing, and he would say, you have to stop telling me these stories and write them in a book. So it's a huge thing with a lot of words. It was really intimidating. So he suggested that I start a blog, and I said, what should I write about? And he said, well, look at your phone. You have 80 pictures of pie. Write about pie. So I started a food blog. I wrote really funny stories. I thought they were funny about cooking and mishaps. And I worked some marine stuff in there and some boot camp stories. And then I got lucky and Huffington Post picked it up. And then, as I said, Food Network found it and wanted to turn that into a pilot. So we did all that. And that stretched my long form narrative writing muscles, I suppose, writing those, 2,500 and 3,000 word short stories. And then that gave me the confidence and the courage to start the book. And I did the classic thing. I did what you're supposed to do. I wrote an outline and started just putting some meat on the bones.
And for the folks listening at home, I kind of want them to understand the magnitude of, and he seems like a very normal guy, and I'm not referring to you. You obviously seem like a very normal and lovely human being. I'm referring to Norman Lear, who he mentioned that is the person who gave him the call about the core and in the initial phone call about Apple, and then eventually I'm sure Netflix. But just to give you guys an idea of shows that are aligned or affiliated with Norman Lear, because I wouldn't be sitting here right now. My childhood was completely molded by things that this gentleman had something to do with. Things like Sanford and Son, Good Times, One Day at a Time, both one day at a times. And I gotta give him props for having a Cuban kind of family on TV. So I gotta show love for that. Silver Spoons, The Jeffersons, All in the Family, Facts. I mean, so I have to ask you, what is, if there was, the best advice he's ever given you, or what you've learned the most from being around somebody as legendary as that?
First off, don't forget that he made AKA Pablo the first Latin sitcom ever.
And The Princess Bride. He's one of the producers of The Princess Bride. Have fun storming the castle. I mean, come on.
How about, and he did Spinal Tap.
Yes.
This is Spinal Tap. Yes. Sorry.
So it's I can't even believe that I get to I've told him before, yes, we're friends. I often can't even believe that I know him. So it's the thing that I learned from him early on when he was really shepherding my writing is, first off, always write the story you want to tell. So that's the spirit that I told you about, that I wrote the book. I didn't have anybody over me. I wrote the story that I wanted to tell. I sat down. I didn't worry about anybody seeing it, anybody looking at it. This is what I wanted to tell. And then the second thing he taught me was there's room in this business for everybody. And as a young writer, seeing all these opportunities that are passing me by and other people getting thinking, how am I ever going to find a place? I needed to hear that. So there's room in this business for everybody. I mean, you do have to have some form of talent, but there is room. It's a business that's always growing. And then the third thing he taught me that has really helped my writing itself is you never learn anything from praise. So if I give somebody a script to read, I don't need them to tell me that they love it. I love that. But I also need them to tell me that my second act isn't working, or where the hell did my protagonist go in the third act? So I need that. I need notes.
I love that. And it's something that a lot of people don't get. And it's like, comedy, for instance, you can go in and do a bunch of comedy shows or try to do a stand-ups or open mics, and people will be like, oh, you were really good, you were really good. And I, for the first time, went to one that it's intimidating, but it was one where they give you feedback. And they were almost scared to give me feedback. I was the only female in the room, and I stood up there and they're like, all right, give it up for Megan. And I was like, no. I came here specifically to know what I need to improve. So let's do this. And if you don't have the courage to take that, and it's also a life skill of listening to people and saying, you know what, you might be right, let me try. And so many people do that. It's a negative too, when someone's going through a hard time and they don't want to hear any fixes. They just want to dwell in their misery. It's such a life skill that I want to surround myself by people like you.
And you're reading the room, you're doing that, and you were hungry for those notes. You know that you want to be a comic and you want to be better. The art of taking notes is that you don't have to take every note. You just have to make the note giver listen to. You need to talk about notes. If somebody gives you a note and says, Megan, that joke doesn't work because the punchline is in the wrong place, either you agree and say, oh, you're right, let me try it again, and it does land better. Or you say, you know what, actually put it there because what I didn't get to is I've got a button on the end and I'm going to call that back in 5 minutes. And then they'd be like, oh, great, let's hear it. So it's important for us to all be respectful of the people that are so generous to give us notes, and then know how to take a note and how to implement it and how to.
And that's a life skill. Know how to take a note, people.
Yeah.
You're not always right.
No.
And how not to not take a note.
Oh yeah, there's that.
And don't be a dick about it. That's real. Just don't be a dick about notes.
My last note was very complimentative. They were like, you were talking about dating troubles and we don't want to hear about a pretty girl and dating troubles. I was like, oh, it's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. Thanks. I'll take it.
I didn't know Stevie Wonder went to comedy shows.
Oh, that's a drive-by.
I love it. There we go. The finger. I was waiting for you to take a sip, Megan, just to get you in the right spot. Oh, she knows how much I love her. Get out of here.
Yes.
Greg, was there a show that you watched that you're like, this is the best television I have ever seen? This is the best writing I've seen. This is like shit. They need to manufacture this and put it in a box and fucking sell it at Ralph's.
I am a fan of a bunch of shows. I am really, really into Barry.
Oh, it's so good.
I
just started.
It's great. I ran into Bill Hader, not to drop that name, but I just happened to, he's playing a Marine on the show, and I ran into him on the Sony lot a few weeks before we came out here. And I just had to stop and interrupt him and tell him, that I really appreciated the way that he wrote and depicted Marines so honestly. It's not all pretty. So Barry, I love the writing. I love the craft. Big fan of The Last of Us. Our director, our pilot director, directed that famous 3rd episode of Last of Us, and that lean storytelling I'm a big fan of. I use a lot of words, but I'm always interested in learning about that. I'm a big Aaron Sorkin fan. I love what he does with monologue. I love reading his screenplays. I think Breaking Bad was genius, and learning about watching these people create. It was very inspiring to see people create shows with unredeemable characters, and that's really exciting. I
mean, look at Succession. I've tried to find somebody there that I care about, and yet I am obsessed with the pacing of that show. I don't think I've ever seen a show where the score has had such an impact on me watching the pacing of it. It's just spectacular. Not to give spoilers away, but it's just a spectacular show. I was gonna ask you, what's the best show that nobody's ever heard of?
Can it be foreign?
Of course. Is it from Quebec? I'm just kidding.
No, it's from. There's two. They're about to say it's from. Father Ted.
Father Ted. Okay.
Father Ted is the funniest show.
Got it.
Writing it down.
Yeah, note taken.
If you're looking for, it's a priest who doesn't want it, but he gets stationed on a really desolate island, and he's hating life. But the show that I would always recommend that's just completely entertaining at all times is if you go to Freevee and watch Norman's old show, Mary Hartman.
Okay.
It is hysterical. It's this woman who it was Norman's hat tip to Madison Avenue and the effect of commercials on the average American housewife. And Louise Lasser, it gave us Martin Mull. It's where Mary Kay Place came from. So definitely do a deep dive. It's all of Norman's shows are on Freevee, on Amazon Freevee. And Mary Hartman is a gem.
A dream TV character to write for. Putting all the pressure on you here.
Barry for sure, because I have.
I was gonna say, he's
Yeah.
gonna say Barry.
Very brilliant. But also, I really, really loved where they took Walter White. I think any writer would kill to write for him. You can throw anything at Bryan Cranston and he knocks it out of the park. So I would trust that my very beautiful, magnificent speeches would be nailed.
Do you have any shitty shows that, okay, shitty shows, not the right word. Any lowbrow shows, because I can't stop watching Below Deck Mediterranean. I don't know why, I can't stop watching that stupid show about yachties and all the like incestuous dumb shit they do on board and all the beautiful places they travel to.
No, that's not dumb at all. It's you want to see how you want to say, thank God I'm not those people.
Fair.
I am obsessed with Alone. On the History Channel, do you watch Alone? They get 12 people dropped in remote
yes, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Whoever survives the longest wins. And it's I can't stop watching.
That's a form of torture, isn't it? It's isolation.
They get all skinny and withered, and yeah, I love it.
I'm living it. Without the skinny.
The torture, yes. Yes.
The loneliness, yes. No, I'm just eating my feelings.
I hope you get to that starvation place. I mean, if that's what you need, I'm going to wish that for you.
Thank you.
I just want you to win.
Thanks.
So I know we only have a few more minutes with you, but I before we let you go, can you give us the perfect foodie day in New Orleans?
My favorite.
Oh, easy. Eddie, you got to start at Mother's. But you have to get there before 8 a.m. And it's not because there's a line after that. Mother's has been open since I think 1948. It's right at the corner of Poydras and by the convention center, and it's iconic. But the reason you have to get there early is they've been roasting hams all night and they've been slowly turning, and you have to get there to get that black charred ham. And once they're out of that ham, there's no more. So you got to get there for black ham and biscuits, and that's Mother's. And then it's a walk in town. So you're going to walk around a lot, go to the quarter, and I am most likely going to end up at Maspero's and have a little, I'm going to split a muffalata with you. I don't need to.
So good.
Just little bites here and there, but I want to eat that muffalata because about that time of day, right about 2:00, there's no line at Cafe Du Mont, and it's right down the street. So you're going to go to Cafe Du Mont. The three of us are going to we're going to be good. We're going to have a cafe au lait, and we're going to split one order, which is 3 beignets. We're going to feel good about ourselves.
I don't know if I can split those 3. I love me some Cafe Du Mont.
We're going to go and take a disco nap, and then we're going to put on a jacket and a tie, and we're going to Commander's Palace. Mark Twain ate at Commander's Palace, and it is there's a new chef there. It's the first female chef they've had, but that's where Julia Child discovered Emerald. Julia Child was eating dinner one night and she was loving her food, and she's like, who made this? And they said, would you like to meet him? So she went to the kitchen and introduced herself to a very young green Emerald Lagasse, and she said, I'm going to make you famous, and she did. So you go in and have a tasting menu. You're in this rickety old house that's just this historic, I think it's a landmark, and you're eating, you're starting with turtle soup, and then you move into some, maybe grilled quail salad, and on to the best, maybe a pecan crusted local fish, a redfish or something. And then you finish with tableside bananas Foster that will make you demand to live there for the rest of your life. And it's just absolutely an incredible experience. And if you eat, always ask for the garden room if you can get it, because that room exits through the kitchen, and you get to go through the kitchen and talk to all the chefs.
Fast forward to
That's
where I'm
I
eating
get
when I go.
emotional. I'm getting
I know,
emotional now.
I'm like, I'm
wanna
supposed to go to Tales of the Cocktail later on this summer, and I have a feeling this dude is gonna be in that garden room inhaling some of that amazingness.
You are that's the Commander's Palace cocktail book, right? My friend Nancy Lee Myatt wrote that.
Well, Tales of the Cocktail is a huge cocktail week. Think of it as Mardi Gras,
Oh.
but just for people in the booze industry.
Okay, they have a book there. You'll see it in the lobby of Commander's Palace. Nancy Lee Myatt wrote it with the Brennans. Brennan's is a great restaurant too, but that's the family. I'm happy that I had that day at the tip of my tongue, but that's a perfect day. That's all you really need.
Folks at home, the book is called The Pink Marine. Our guest, Greg Cope White, screenwriter, definitely not from Memphis, Tennessee, and did not live in Atlanta, Georgia. So ChatGPT, go fuck yourself. AI, my favorite sign that I've seen during this writer's strike is that AI could not have written the movie AI. And this is like a prime example of that. We support all of the writers here and around that are going through this tough time right now. Greg, thank you so much. It has been such an honor, and to listen to you talk about honor and how you carry that into your writing post-military. I'm humbled and really have enjoyed our conversation. So folks, please check him out at Greg Cope White, the number 1 on Instagram. I'm sorry, I had to give you like a nice dramatic pause after that. The number 1, and the book is available. I mean, Barnes and Noble, Amazon, where I ordered mine. I know Jeff Bezos owns the world right now, but hey, sorry guys, it's more convenient just order it.
Yeah, you can
on
go
Amazon.
to bookshop.org. It's a little more independent, but wherever, I appreciate anybody that wants to read it and buy it. You know, I appreciate my time with you. You both would make outstanding Marines. Megan, you'd lose about 50 pounds, I promise.
Yes.
Fast forward, Megan like signing her life away.
Too old
like,
now. They won't let me in.
You know, I'm sorry that you didn't get in, but again, I really, it means the world that you wanted to. Even if it was for college, who cares? You would have. You're there serving your country, and it's important. And Eddie, I really I'm excited to see what happens with the stories with your dad. Good luck with that, and just cherish that time. It's so great, so cool. I'm glad that you're doing that.
I do. Thank you so much. And speaking of time, we end every show the same way. The only thing we don't get back in life is time, and we just want to acknowledge you and honor you for spending a little bit of your time with us. And the folks listening at home, thank you so much for spending some time with us here on Kill the Bottle Podcast. Please follow Greg, check out his book. Please like, rate, review our show, as Megan like starts pointing at me because I always forget to say that.
Rate, subscribe,
see you
review.
soon.
Yes.
And we'll be back next week. Kill the Bottle Podcast. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.